Hello folks, and welcome to Wisconsin Northland Outdoor Tips with myself, John Myhre, and our co-host Desmond Bennett. And we're going to try to give you some great tips in these series to help you enjoy the outdoors a little bit more and your fishing and boating. Well folks, you know, in the summertime when we got a lot of weed cover out there and you're trying to get something through when you got fish in the weeds, you know, weedless jigs, whether it be like the weed weasel jig like this or a brush hog jig or any type of a weedless jig with a line tie in the front coming to a point, is going to be a real effective tool for getting into the weeds. You know, a weedless jig like this is really incredible, the amount of stuff it'll go through. The mistake I see people do when they're working a weedless jig in the weeds is sometimes they work it too aggressive. There's times when you want to be snapping the jig, but there's other times when, you know, for instance, if you take that jig and you throw it out, what I like to do with it is let that jig get near the bottom out there, especially if you're tipping it with live bait. And then you can kind of lift it up like this and stop and watch your line. Wait for that line to drop. That's one of the reasons I use high-vis line, so I can see it really well, and then I always put on, you know, several feet of fluorocarbon leader on it. Then pick up your slack line and then lift it again, and you're actually swimming it back to the boat. And that line angle also, with that line being high like that rod tip, you're going to have a lot more sensitivity in feeling your strikes. And one of the big mistakes I see people make is they actually give it too much slack line, and by keeping it up like this you can watch your line when it drops. And the other thing too is if you feel weeds, a lot of times you just kind of shake the rod tip a little bit and it'll come right off that weed, and a lot of times that's when you're going to get a good strike on it. So by all means, try weedless jigs in the summertime. Real effective way of catching fish, especially walleyes when you're fishing with a jig with a piece of crawler on it or a piece of leech on it, or if they're real active with a twister tail like a Berkley power bait.